repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand your message. It is said in the Bhagavatam, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, who has developed the urge to hear by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in the mode of unalloyed goodness. And the man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with the devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead and the stage of liberation from all material association. Thus the knot in the heart is pierced and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitative activities is terminated when one sees the self as master. He will become liberated from the influence of the modes of ignorance. And some extra information about this. So Srila Prabhupada wrote this. He was a common, while on the Jaladuta, he was a Commonwealth peer in Boston on September 18, 1965. And then at the bottom of this poem, Srila Prabhupada signed the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September, 1965. So we'll sing this. Boro kripa kaile Krishna adhamera prati. You see? Is it okay? Gila gila nilita koroi bigati. Achi kichu karja taba e anumane. Nahi keno ani ben Eugrastane. Rajastamo gunera sabhayachan. Vasudeva Khattaruchi nahi se prasan. Tabi jadi taba kripa hoya how to keep. Sakali sambhava hoya tumi se how to keep.
Bhavi bhujale tara bhuji se rasa Ita kripa koro Prabhu kori nija bhasha Tomar ichai sab hoy Maya bhash Tomari chai nash Maya parash Abba ichha hoy jadi tadiru dhar Buddhi binishchai tabe Katase tomar Bhagavatir katase taba avatar Dhira hoya shuni jadi kani bar bar Shinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtanaha hridyantastu bhadrani vidhanoti saritsatam nashta prayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhaviti naishtiki tadarajastamo bhava kamalobhata yashchaye chitatir navidham stitam sattve prasidati evam prasana manaso bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tadva vijnanam mukta sangasa jayate Vidyate hridaya granti shedyanti sarva samshayaha kshiyanti chasya karmani drishtaivatmanishwari Rajastamo atitaba pabinista Hidaya bhadra sate guchi bitahar Ki khori bhujabo kata Baroshi chahi Kudra midhina hina koro shakti nahi Attachin Attachai Nicho Prabhu Kataboli Bhari Jito Maricha Prabhu Koroi Bhari Akila Jagat Guru Bachana Seyama Alankrita Koribar Kamata Tomar Taba Kripa Holy More Kata Shuddha Habe Shuniyasa Bara Shoka Dukhaji Ghuchibe Aniyacho Jadha Prabhu Amari Nachate Nacho, Nacho, Prabhu, Nacho Simate. Kashtira Putali Jata Nacho Simati Bhakti Nai Veda Nai Nami Khub Dharo Bhakti Vedanta Nam Ebisartha Koro Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtadusha Shishiman His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtadusha Shishiman His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the Sum of devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the Sum of devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 17, verse number 145. Sorry, I can only get it so big. It's as big as I can get it here. Bhari Puja Laya Ailan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib. Please repeat. Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimani Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib. Mataji's. Bhari Bhoja Loya Ilan Kimana Loya Jab Alpa Svalpa Mulya Paili Itai Vichib. Okay, just small technical note because somebody told me this. Guru Maharaj told me this actually. When this comes here in Bengali, this is Bengali here, this reads as Lana, but it's actually Loya. When it's this is surrounded by two, what do you call it? Vowels, it becomes a Y. So small technical point. Is the biggest I can do for some reason. Yeah. What I can do, maybe, yeah, I can like overkill it. How's that? Okay? Okay. Bhari Bhoja, heavy load. Loya, bearing. Ailan, I came. Kemane, how? Liya Jab, shall I take it back? Alpa Svalpa Mulya, a fraction of the real price. Paile, if I get. Itai, hear, Vichib, I shall see. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. I have brought a heavy load to sell in the city. To take it back again is a very difficult job. Therefore, if I get but a fraction of the price, I shall sell it here in this city of Kashi. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was selling the transcendental holy name of the Lord, but Kashi was a city of Mayavadis, impersonalists, and such people would never chant the holy names of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Consequently, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling disappointed. How could he teach the Mayavadis the importance of chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra? The attraction for chanting the holy name of the Lord belongs absolutely to pure devotees. And there was no possibility of finding pure devotees at Kashi. Consequently, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's commodity were certainly very heavy. The Lord therefore suggested that even though there are no pure devotees in Kashi, if somebody was a little inclined to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, he would deliver this big load, although the proper price was not paid. Actually, we experienced this when we came to preach the Hare Krishna movement in the West. When we came to New York in 1965, we never expected that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra would be accepted in this country. Nonetheless, we invited people to our storefront to join in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And the Lord's holy name is so attractive that simply by coming to our storefront in New York City, fortunate young people became Krishna conscious. Although this mission was started with insignificant capital, it is now going nicely. The spreading of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the West has become successful because the young people were not offenders. The youths who joined this movement were not very advanced as far as purity is concerned, nor were they very well educated in Vedic knowledge. But because they were not offenders, they could accept the importance of the Hare Krishna movement. We are now very happy to see that this movement is advancing more and more in the Western countries. We therefore conclude that the so-called Mlechas and Yavanas of the Western countries are more purified than offensive Mayavadis or atheistic impersonalists. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakya Chakshu Umilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutali Swayam Rupakada Mayam Tedati Swapadandikam Vande Ham Shri Guru Shri Tapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Shta He Krishna Kuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Piti Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustuti Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sati Devi Pranama Mihare Priye Vanchakapatubhyasha Kripasanubhi Vachapatita Nam Pavne Bhyo Vaishnamibhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Putresh Mati Bhakti Vikasa Swamin Itinamane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Putresh Mati Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Itinamane Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Prasharne Nirvishesha Shunivari Pashchati Dharne Bhutir Mahadbiri Mafur Vibor Nirmaya Shiti Yad Amushi Purashaha Bhunkti Gunan Shudashatmaka Solangrishista Bhagavan Vashamsi Me. So the song we just sang, Markini Bhagavata Dharma, means, translation is Krishna consciousness in the West. This song is the essence of what Prabhupada came to, or the essence of his mood, you could say. It's highly demonstrated in this song. Srila Prabhupada's wanting, his ardent desire to spread Krishna consciousness in the West, and his vision for doing so, and his utter dependence upon Krishna. One point is that Srila Prabhupada, obviously today, we said this before, but I'll just reiterate, today is the day Srila Prabhupada arrived in America. It's a very significant day for all of us, because by Srila Prabhupada's grace, only because he came to America, are all of us collectively here, whether Western-bodied or Indian-bodied, participating in the Krishna consciousness movement. If Srila Prabhupada didn't take up the spreading of Krishna consciousness on the order of his guru, then maybe definitely nobody in the West would understand what is Krishna, what is the Hare Krishna mantra, who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Within India, some people may have been chanting Hare Krishna, but definitely Srila Prabhupada's impact, his preaching impacts every single one of us in this room. And even if Srila Prabhupada accomplished amazing things, he spread the Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Of course, we say 11 years, Well, Srila Prabhupada practically considered that he started his movement in 1968 by his own estimation when he came back from India after he had a heart attack. So by that estimation, practically, it's less, 9 years. But even then, if you look at the time that the movement took to go international, from Srila Prabhupada's first efforts in 1965, it became an international movement, actually 1968, because then devotees were in Europe. But practically by 1970, 1971, the movement had exploded. So even within a short 5-6 years, the whole movement exploded. There are so many amazing things Srila Prabhupada did, but even if Srila Prabhupada did nothing, he would still be glorious externally, because to be a pure devotee of Krishna doesn't entail one has to perform any feats that may be quantifiably outstanding to a materialist. Gorakishore Das Babaji did nothing his whole life that would have impressed any materialist of this world. But still, he's incredibly glorious in all aspects of his life because he's a pure devotee of Krishna. So, similarly, Srila Prabhupada did many amazing things. He performed miracles. We say he performed miracles. His miracles were also very practical in the sense that they're hard-won. It's not that just something manifested out of nowhere. Srila Prabhupada worked very, very hard to establish this mission. He worked very, very hard to preach Krishna consciousness. In one sense, what he did was even more remarkable than what was done by Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. Lord Chaitanya just preached mainly within India, some areas of India, eastern side of India and also South India. We don't hear of him going to the west. So very localized, but Srila Prabhupada brought Krishna consciousness all over the world. Not only spread it all over India, he spread it all over the world, and it's continuing to be spread. So, although lists, achievements of Srila Prabhupada, it could be started, and generally we think of Srila Prabhupada in this way, that he came to America, and this is when he kick-started the Hare Krishna movement, and this is the beginning of Srila Prabhupada's amazing feats in this world. But Srila Prabhupada's achievements begin even before he came to America. Not only that he was preaching in India extensively, but chiefly, Srila Prabhupada was a pure devotee, Nityasiddha Mahabhagavat, Mahapurusha, who came to this world, and he lived a life of pure devotion to Krishna before even coming to the West. So this pure devotion of Krishna that Srila Prabhupada possessed, that he himself is saying in his song, Bhakti Nai Veda Nai, he doesn't possess, he's claiming not to possess this bhakti, this devotion to Krishna, was Srila Prabhupada's greatest achievement. And because he had this devotion to Krishna, unalloyed devotion to Krishna, all his other achievements came from this. So, with this great devotion, Srila Prabhupada came to America. He spent something like, I don't know, I forget the exact time frame, either a month or 2 months, something like this, about the Jaladuta coming to America on a cargo ship with no institutional backing. None of his godbrothers were helping him. No financial backing either. He had the equivalent of about $7 USD, and anyway, he couldn't use it because he couldn't convert rupees into dollars at that time because the U.S. government didn't allow such a thing. So he was on board the Jaladuta in a hellish journey. He had two heart attacks along the way, and of course, those are somewhat famous. We also understand if we read the journal he kept, the Jaladuta diary, practically he was starving too because he wasn't eating anything practically. It was only when the captain of that ship, he remarked that when he stopped in Cairo, I think, that the Suez Canal, they stopped in Cairo in Egypt. Then the captain, seeing Srila Prabhupada's wretched condition, he bought Srila Prabhupada a propane burner so Srila Prabhupada could cook for himself. And the captain remarked something like if he had not done so, he thought Srila Prabhupada would have died. So Srila Prabhupada suffered so many difficulties just getting here. Before getting to America, there were so many issues trying to preach in India. There's some success was there. The League of Devotees he had started, but then it was shut down because the wife of a governor whimsically wanted to use the building Srila Prabhupada was operating out of, more or less. He tried different things, publishing articles under his godbrothers, but they were kind of not so favorable in succinct form without going into details. And then obviously this journey to America. And then he got to America and he has so many problems. This poem, Markini Bhagavata Dharma, Srila Prabhupada wrote when he was still on the Jaladuta. It means even before coming to America, even before seeing practically what is the culture of America, etc., like that, he's saying, Rajastamo hati tabi paibi nistar hridaya abhadra sati guchipin, what is that? Sorry. That's also there. But Rajastamo guna era sabai achan basudeva kataruchi nahesi prasan. The people here, they're covered over by the modes of passion and ignorance. Srila Prabhupada could see just the coastline. You can see the buildings, the cities of America, huge centers of ignorant tamagun and rajagun. Ugrastani, Srila Prabhupada used this word in his terrible place, horrible place. Srila Prabhupada could immediately tell from the ship, what a terrible place you brought me to, Krishna. For some reason you brought me here. I don't quite know why. He knew why, to preach the message of Vasudeva, but he didn't know quite how it would work out. And upon reaching the shores, Srila Prabhupada, there were so many difficulties on top of that. Obviously, he was poor. He spoke English, but the colloquial English spoken in America is very different than that which he presumably learned in India. So many different things. He didn't have any contacts in America. Nothing. He came to America. He didn't have any clear set plan. He had one sponsor, Gopal, I forget the last name. What is that? Gopal Agarwal, and then Sally Agarwal in Butler. That was his only contact. He didn't really know Gopal. Gopal was a recommendation of that some friend in India recommended to Srila Prabhupada. But Srila Prabhupada didn't know him. He didn't know anybody in America. You can imagine going to a country, of course, I don't know, some of us have been to India, but it's like, we're going there, the temples are already established, we know devotees there, we have God brothers there, etc. So there's even though there maybe is some sort of vagueness, I don't know what I'm going to do there, there's a foundation that's been laid by Srila Prabhupada. But that foundation, Srila Prabhupada didn't have at all. He was just going into this country completely blind. So, among other things, he didn't really have a clear, again, no institutional backing, no clear set way to preach Krishna consciousness. But over and above all these things that Srila Prabhupada went through, his heart attacks, the difficulties getting to America, the difficulties upon reaching to America, probably even more substantial than, in other words, even though these impediments were quite substantial in Srila Prabhupada's path, they're minor compared to the cultural gap and the conceptual gap that Srila Prabhupada faced, where he's coming from, and the message of Krishna consciousness he's trying to present, and the people he met in America is it's like night and day. Even for Indians, Srila Prabhupada was having difficulty preaching in India. What to speak of Americans? Chanting Hari, his message was so different from the Western psyche, in other words, succinctly. Chanting Hare Krishna is easy. All right? People can easily chant Hare Krishna. At the time, people were somewhat into Eastern mysticism. There were a class of people there. But Srila Prabhupada, he expected his followers and he expected to induct people into a tradition, accepting as axiomatic the basis of reality, philosophical tenets in ancient books written in an ancient language that none of them spoke, to accept descriptions of divine demigods and heavenly planets which are not perceived, an outlandish idea of the universal structure, the distance of the moon, the distance of the sun, descriptions of interstellar flying eagles, traditional gender roles, which was Srila Prabhupada was just coming. Of course, the first wave feminism was already there. And I think second wave feminism was just coming shortly into the 70s. And he inducted his followers into deity worship, which is completely unheard of. Srila Prabhupada, he himself remarked that this deity worship I'm introducing is a new concept, is novel in the Western world. It is never before seen. He taught them to worship plants, Tulasi Devi. He gave them a bizarre dress code and hairstyle that was shocking to many Americans. And in general, He expected his followers to adhere to a very highly austere mode of living, which was completely unfamiliar to most Americans. So, of course, in India, his background, the cultural background, most of these things are normal. People understand Tulasi Devi, who she is, or at least some idea that it's some cultural significance that, it's a spiritual living entity, etc. like that. Some sort of idea is there. There's connection with the Vedas, the Puranas, even though people may never study it. But in the West, there's a complete gap. It's with Tamal Krishna Goswami, he remarked regarding this, the cultural divide that separates Prabhupada's audience from from Chaitanya's is oceanic. I was making this point that what Prabhupada did in one sense is even greater than Lord Chaitanya did, because Lord Chaitanya, he was preaching to people who knew these things. Tamal Krishna Goswami continues, there is little to compare to the utter strangeness of an elderly Vaishnava sadhu in 1965 walking down New York's Fifth Avenue, or to his orthodoxy contrasted with a drug-maddened San Francisco Grateful Dead concert at which he chanted 2 years later. 2 years later, or a few years after, to the incomprehension of the Florida State policeman investigating the torture of 2 young children, and instead discovering the sanctified images of Radha and Krishna being flamed by the sacred arti lamp. In other words, to give some background with that, so the Radha Damodar traveling Sankirtan devotees, some bystanders saw the devotees doing Mangal Arti and waving an Arti lamp in front of Radha Krishna deities, Radha Damodar there in Gita Nagari. And they couldn't understand what the heck was going on, and they called the police and reported to the police that these people are flaming to 2 young children. And the police came, and then the devotees had to explain to the police what is going on, etc. like that. How can you explain? There's no concept within these officials' minds as to what's going on. So Tamal Krishna Goswami, he continues to conclude this bit. There are but a few, these are a few of innumerable examples. Whatever differences Chaitanya encountered, as fundamentally different as Hindu society it may have been, say, from its Muslim rulers, Prabhupada's otherness is worlds apart. So what Srila Prabhupada's, it's just what he said. Srila Prabhupada is greatly differed from the audience from which he was preaching. And it's to Srila Prabhupada's glory, and there are many reasons why Srila Prabhupada was successful, the chief being, as I mentioned, his pure devotion to Krishna. But one thing is that Srila Prabhupada made things very, very simple. And it's to Srila Prabhupada's, it's a hallmark of Srila Prabhupada, his whole preaching in general, is that he made things very, very simple to understand. He took things that were written in an incomprehensible language to Westerners, and he made it in a philosophy that can be quite abstruse, actually. If you read the writings of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, it's quite abstruse. The philosophy can be quite complicated if you look at it from that angle of vision. But Srila Prabhupada, he made it very easy for us to understand. I know personally, I can understand whatever Srila Bhaktisiddhanta is writing because I can translate it in my mind on the fly into the words and terms of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, to read the Brahma Samhita is not even that. His articles and the harmonist, etc., is a very high level of English. So it's to Srila Prabhupada's success and his glory that he made things very, very simple for people to understand. Of course, he gave high philosophy too, not that he dumbed everything down, but he made things very tangible. And one thing is that Srila Prabhupada is coming in like parampara, and traditionally you see that scripture is commented upon by different acharyas. We have the commentaries of acharyas, and generally they expect that the readers are familiar with the text themselves, generally speaking. Not always so, but even if not, they're assuming that the readers are coming from a cultural background. But it's to Srila Prabhupada's success as a commentator that he bridged the gap between the previous acharyas and a modern-day audience within his own commentaries. You see, many scholars, even when writing of Srila Prabhupada's books, you hear, if you see the reviews of Srila Prabhupada's books that his disciples garnered in the 1970s, you see that scholars have praised Srila Prabhupada for this point, that he's made something of an otherwise distant tradition very much accessible in today's terms. Srila Prabhupada was, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta was famous for this. This was also characteristic of him. He modernized things in Vaishnavism, but Srila Prabhupada brought it to an entirely new audience. Srila Prabhupada went among the lowest grade of people. I've made this point before. The lowest grade of people. So if you examine the world by Vedic standards, the lowest, even more than Chandals, are Mlechas and Yavanas. Yavana is technically considered even more degraded than Amlecha. So Srila Prabhupada went among these people. What does that mean? The Western people, people of America, people of Europe, etc., like that. No knowledge of Vedic culture. They're meat eaters. They have no idea of what is spirit. They have no idea that they're not their body. He went among these people, and so if you look at these people, so if you take Americans, Europeans, Westerners in the 1960s, the most degraded of all the Westerners, the hippie class, they didn't bathe regularly. They intoxicated themselves on a regular basis. They freely had sex in the open. They will go about in some places, at least some sects of hippies, completely nude, without clothes, completely low-class people, for lack of a better term, for lack of an extreme word, completely degraded people degraded even among Mlechas. He went among the people who were considered degraded even among the Mlechas, and he uplifted those people to become pure Vaishnava Brahmanas. He went among the hippies where free sex was mainstream, was openly accepted. Srila Prabhupada taught, don't have illicit sex. Among the hippies, where intoxication was practically the culture of the hippies, he taught, don't intoxicate yourself. Don't gamble. Okay, that's a little bit easy. Don't eat meat. A little bit easy, maybe among the hippies. Some, at least, there was a macrobiotic movement at the time of vegetarianism was coming into popularity, but still, societally wasn't accepted. So Srila Prabhupada, what he was teaching was completely at odds with what the culture, both mainstream culture and his audience. So yeah, he uplifted the most fallen people. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokire Jivana. The spiritual master is an ocean of mercy and an uplifter of the fallen. We glorify Srila Prabhupada like this every single day, but what Narottam Das Thakur wrote in glorification of his own guru, Lokanath Goswami, Srila Prabhupada brought, he fulfilled the import of this line of this song to the most unprecedented extent yet. He uplifting the most degraded class of people. He revealed to the Western world, who was theologically crippled by so many speculated ideas of God, no clear idea as to what is God, and he gave the Western world, as you read in the song, Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam, scientific knowledge of who is God, what is his name. He taught people, he gave people Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Srila Prabhupada came to the West amongst a flurry of other Indian holy men, other sometimes so-called Indian sadhus. Just then, at that time, previously, there was without going into technicalities, basically India wouldn't allow people to go abroad. It was very, very difficult. Only very select people high up in the society or government men, etc. like that. But generally, to get what was formerly called a P form, you needed a P form to leave the country. And formerly, it was very, very difficult to get. Even in Srila Prabhupada, he finally got his P form, but that was after the Indian government had relaxed a little bit. So, just then, at that time in the 1950s, 60s, there was a flurry of Indian gurus to the West. And Srila Prabhupada was amongst them, but aloof from them and distinct from them. And his disciples, those who took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, could distinctly tell that he's not this is a person who doesn't have his own personal self-interest in mind. This is somebody, Mukunda Goswami remarked, because he had met different Indian gurus in New York in 1966. And when he first met Srila Prabhupada, he was amazed that he could recognize that this is somebody who's not going to cheat me. He's not a cheating guru like all these other Indian men, all these other so-called holy men. Srila Prabhupada, he didn't preach some claptrap philosophy and just advertise himself. He came and he presented Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Once, when a disciple was remarking to Srila Prabhupada about the so-called disciples of these other gurus, Srila Prabhupada said, actually, they have no disciples. Superficially, they have disciples, but actually, they go off their own mental speculations in the end, and they have no real surrender unto their so-called guru. But we see that Srila Prabhupada actually made disciples. He actually had followers. Not because he promoted himself, though, because he promoted Krishna. Always. He directed people. He always directed his disciples. He shunned away from the spotlight, from the glory, and he instead directed his disciples to worshiping Krishna. There were so many other cheating Indian gurus. They were instead promoting I, me, and mine, their own false egos, basically. Srila Prabhupada didn't do this, and people could understand, at least those who came to him, his disciples could understand. It's very significant. Not only did Srila Prabhupada promote Krishna, he attributed his success both to the mercy of Krishna and to the mercy of his own guru, his own spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Always, even when Srila Prabhupada was achieving small success in the beginning, he was saying, you can hear this lecture in 1968 or 69, when Srila Prabhupada's sannyas guru had left his body. So we hear there Srila Prabhupada saying that my spiritual master sent all of you nice young boys and girls to me. In 1968, when still the movement was just very fledgling. And still in 1977, when the movement was a juggernaut, Srila Prabhupada still attributed the success of his movement to his spiritual master. He never thought at any point in time the success of this movement is because of my capabilities as a preacher, because I'm a very expert speaker, because I'm very highly elevated in my devotional service. Srila Prabhupada never thought like this. And because he never thought like this, among so many other things, he was successful. We see, it's clear that Srila Prabhupada, he knew, from the song Markini Bhagavata Dharma, Srila Prabhupada, there's a hint in here. Srila Prabhupada knew that Krishna had deputed him to delivering the Western world. But he didn't know if it will work. He didn't know if it will work. He didn't know how it will work. He didn't have a clear idea of, as he said, these people were covered over by the modes of passion and ignorance. How will they take to the transcendental messages of Vasudeva? What is that? Yeah, so as I wrote in this purport from Chaitanya Charitamrita, when we came to New York in 1965, we never expected that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra would be accepted in this country. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, he didn't think it will work. Although he was acting upon the order of his spiritual master and what he could perceive as the desire of Krishna, he didn't actually think it will work. Contrary to some accounts, there's one account given in Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. We hear of Mr. Reuben, a Turkish Jew in 1965, who sat on a park bench with Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada purportedly said to him that I have so many temples, so many devotees, there's only time separating me from this. And people like to recount this, but it seems like for all combination of logic, it seems like this is just some sort of speculation that Mr. Reuben cooked up, because he told devotees this in 1978, after the movement had expanded. Anybody could have said that. If you look at what Srila Prabhupada actually said during that time, 1966, he was surprised that people were taking to the movement, actually. And multiple times, Srila Prabhupada said that he was thinking about returning to India, because it was just, he had practically a whole year of preaching, and nobody was taking to what he was saying. He was lecturing in different avenues, but practically people weren't taking his message seriously. In his prayer to the lotus feet of Krishna, which he wrote upon the Jaladuta, Srila Prabhupada writes of his vision of spreading the holy names across the world. But in Markini Bhagavata Dharma, Srila Prabhupada practically gave the means by which he envisioned that would happen. Hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And factually, we see that the first group of Srila Prabhupada's followers, his first disciples, they gathered around him. In other words, they became serious when they first started coming regularly to Srila Prabhupada and hearing from him regularly, because they started hearing the message of the personality of God, the message of Krishna. They became purified and they were able to take up Krishna consciousness. So what Srila Prabhupada predicted in this Markini Bhagavata Dharma, factually it came to pass. The messages of Vasudeva purified people, although it was a little different. Anyway, just some bits. So yeah, a group of regular listeners of unexpected background gathered around Srila Prabhupada, and he had great faith that, as he writes in the Bhagavatam, ardent hearing from the bona fide spiritual master is the only way to receive transcendental knowledge. He told one early follower in 1966, who was asking many questions, he said to them, "Just come to my classes, and all of your problems will be solved." And they did, and they took up Krishna consciousness. Of course, in Markini Bhagavata Dharma, we hear of Srila Prabhupada envisioning the messages of Srimad Bhagavatam, purifying the people of the Western worlds. But there's a little bit of a change, because mainly it was the message of Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? Srila Prabhupada, of course, traditionally, Gaudiya Acharyas, they spoke from Srimad Bhagavatam, and that was the main. Of course, they knew Gita. They knew Gita quite well. Everybody knows Gita. Even today in India, many people know Bhagavad Gita. They're conversant with Bhagavad Gita, even if they have their own speculation, wrong speculation about what Bhagavad Gita means. But generally, Gita is well known. And Gaudiya Acharyas, generally, they will commentate and discuss Gaudiyas in general, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, specifically Srimad Bhagavatam. We hear Lord Chaitanya, he specifically recommended this book. But we see, particularly in the beginning, Srila Prabhupada, he himself remarked that he was speaking mainly from Bhagavad Gita. You see his classes in 1966, mainly from Bhagavad Gita. And some, he gave public classes, and there are also morning classes, which were more intimate upon his more core group of followers, Janarani, Mukunda, Brahmananda, Hayagriva, etc., people like this, Satswarup, so many people are there. He would speak from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita to them, although they had no idea who Lord Chaitanya was. But he was speaking to them with the idea that they would be purified. And you would hear, I don't know who was making this point. I don't know if it's my own spiritual master or who, but the observation, if you hear these classes in 1966, Srila Prabhupada, he very much had this faith that by hearing the pure transcendental vibration, these people would be purified. He'll quote Sanskrit to people who didn't understand a word of it, couldn't understand it at all. You hear, he would sing the entire Garvashtakam in some kirtans. He would recite the whole, it's Bhrigupati Prabhu actually, I think. He would sing the Shat Goswami Ashtakam, and he wouldn't give a translation of it. But he did so with understanding, presumably, we can infer, that just the vibration, well, first, praying himself to the Goswamis and his own spiritual master, but also just hearing the vibration, etc., like that. Srila Prabhupada mainly spoke from Gita in the beginning. He shifted his strategy. He envisioned Srimad Bhagavatam being spoken from, but he mainly spoke from Gita. Of course, later he spoke from Bhagavatam when more devotees took it up seriously. But another hallmark of Srila Prabhupada's success is that he shifted his strategy. He came to America expecting, in India, Srila Prabhupada was preaching among higher class of men, governmental men. He will meet with government officers, high people in society, lawyers, doctors, etc., like that. And he similarly expected in America, following suit in his own spiritual master's preaching strategy, to preach to the intellectuals of America. And he composed his first Bhagavatams in that way, if you read them. But those people weren't the ones that were coming to him. As I mentioned, these hippies were coming to Srila Prabhupada. And so Srila Prabhupada, he adopted to the situation. He took the raw material that Krishna was sending him, and he built something very wonderful out of it. Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, he remarks that out of dubious raw material, Srila Prabhupada built something magnificent. It's like he built, and I think in one morning walk or something, Tamal Krishna Goswami, he himself remarked to Srila Prabhupada that it's like you've built a skyscraper or a great mansion, something like that, out of matchsticks. So Srila Prabhupada made amazing accomplishments from very dubious raw material because they were dedicated to him. One thing with Srila Prabhupada, you see with his disciples, particularly, is that although Srila Prabhupada was preaching philosophy, and of course we don't discount that, we emphasize that, we should become learned in the philosophy. Practically, what made people gather around Srila Prabhupada was Srila Prabhupada himself, his own personality, his own character, his own authenticity, his own genuineness, that feeling I mentioned earlier, that he's not here to cheat people, and the genuine love that Srila Prabhupada showed people, because he loved Krishna, he could love all living entities, and people could pick up on this. This amazing, just wonderful, dynamic character of Srila Prabhupada, it attracted people around him. Because he himself was imbued with Krishna consciousness, it naturally attracted others. So a major aspect in Krishna consciousness and spreading Krishna consciousness to the West is the fact that Srila Prabhupada came to the West. Of course, he could have shipped books to the West. Bhaktivinoda Thakur did. That's glorious, don't get me wrong, but we don't hear of people taking up Krishna consciousness. We wouldn't necessarily expect that, it's not expected, in other words, that the International Society of Krishna Consciousness would have come out of nothing just by Srila Prabhupada sending his books to the West. Although Srila Prabhupada is non-different from his books, he's given all knowledge in his books, it's because Srila Prabhupada made his own personal sacrifice to come to the West and exhibit things himself, because otherwise people wouldn't have any sort of idea of who is a devotee, what is Krishna consciousness. So Srila Prabhupada coming here, it gave people a concrete idea. So much could be said. You could give whole classes on whole different aspects of why Srila Prabhupada was successful. So many things. He had conviction. He spoke with conviction. He knew what he was preaching was true. He didn't believe it. He knew it as a fact, that Shastra, what is given as Shastra, is a fact. And he expected other people to accept it as axiomatic as he did. He had conviction not only in Shastra, he had conviction in the words of Krishna and the words of his spiritual master. He had faith in the holy name, as Srila Prabhupada he himself remarks in this poem. He presented things as it is. He didn't water things down. He gave it straight because he had very strong faith in the message. He had conviction. So this conviction was a very big factor in Srila Prabhupada's success. He was enthusiastic to do so. As we get from the next instruction, if you're not enthusiastic, you can't do anything, even materially. Srila Prabhupada had great enthusiasm to spread Krishna consciousness, and he thought big. The idea of going to the West and preaching, establishing something, among his godbrothers, it seemed like something very fanciful, even though Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had obviously wanted this. But Srila Prabhupada, he thought big, and he thought that these things could actually happen, not just in his going to the West, too, and his dealings with the disciples and his whole mission to the West. Srila Prabhupada always thought big. I was just reading yesterday, Srila Prabhupada was going from somewhere. He was on his way to Mumbai, and they, with all his disciples who were just in India for the first time, this was 1970 or something. They were coming from Amritsar and going to Bombay. And then they had a stopover in Delhi, and Srila Prabhupada and his disciples just so happened to meet a lawyer that Srila Prabhupada had known in Delhi, an old contact of his. And so he told Guru Das Prabhu just to get down in Delhi, stay in Delhi, and try to open a temple there. Guru Das Prabhu, he didn't have any contacts. He didn't know anybody. He knew there was that one lawyer, but there wasn't a temple there. There wasn't any sort of facility, but he expected Guru Das to, he wanted him to open a temple. There was no facility. Srila Prabhupada thought big, and he wanted his disciples to similarly think big and see his big plans to fulfillment. Other things, I don't have so much time. The fact that Srila Prabhupada changed his strategy, he could have been discouraged that the intellectuals aren't taking to Krishna consciousness. But Srila Prabhupada worked with what he was given. He worked with the hippies. He made things simple. He worked very hard to preach Krishna consciousness. I was just reading Giriraj Maharaj's book, the same book, Dancing White Elephants, when Srila Prabhupada first went to India, same time period, 1970. So many people were inviting Srila Prabhupada to so many places. Srila Prabhupada was getting 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 invitations a day to different places. And so practically from the morning up until sometimes past midnight, Srila Prabhupada would be just constantly preaching throughout the day, to the extent that Srila Prabhupada, his disciples, who were in their 20s, couldn't keep up with him. Yamuna Mataji, she remarks that there wasn't even time to wash her own clothes, what to speak of other things. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada would be moving so fast that they got to one event and Srila Prabhupada was just leaving to go to another event. And finally, they came together and they petitioned Srila Prabhupada, please, don't accept more than one or two programs a day. We can't do this. Srila Prabhupada, he's a man at this seemingly 70 years old, and his disciples at the peak of their health in 25, 26, 28, they couldn't keep up with Srila Prabhupada. And of course, Srila Prabhupada, even throughout his movement, he would regularly rise, translate late into the night. Srila Prabhupada worked extremely hard to establish this. It was very hard work coming to America. Even getting the permission to come to America, it was extremely hard work. And then so many other things I'll gloss over or not cover, I guess. One ultimate thing I would say is Krishna's guiding hand and the whole ordeal. There's so many different things. We can see Krishna obviously made an arrangement. Srila Prabhupada is Krishna's Senapati Bhakta who's come to the West to deliver not only the West, the whole world. Srila Prabhupada's Shastra has predicted Srila Prabhupada coming to the West. Previous acharyas have predicted Srila Prabhupada's coming to the West in one way or another. Maybe I should have spoken those more, but I don't have time. And Srila Prabhupada fulfilled these things, and Krishna made arrangement. Krishna made arrangement. There was such a socio-economical, political situation in America at the time that there was a class of people, the hippies, who immediately took up to Krishna consciousness. They were already fried out with material life. Srila Prabhupada went among the hippies, and they were his best customers, as he would remark. So many different things Krishna made an arrangement for. Vamshi Prabhu was narrating just some weeks ago how the Bhagavad Gita got printed. Obviously, during the whole time Srila Prabhupada was preaching in the West, his whole preaching, the West, India, everywhere, we see how Krishna was personally reciprocating with his devotee and personally guiding Srila Prabhupada's efforts. So, we're all indebted to Srila Prabhupada. We're all products of his mercy. All that we know is coming from Srila Prabhupada. We may know so many verses. Those verses are coming because, well, first, Srila Prabhupada gave us them. He himself quoted them. We may sing so nicely. We sing so nicely because Srila Prabhupada sings so nicely. He gave us all this. We may have learned so much culture, but we know these things only because Srila Prabhupada came to teach these things. So we're all very much indebted to Srila Prabhupada for coming, taking incredible hardships with no gain on his part to preach Krishna consciousness. Simply, he acted on the order of his spiritual master, and to some extent, as he would say, he was successful. So, that's all I have. So I can end here and take anything anybody has at this point. Otherwise, we can end. Yes?
Sometimes people explain about Srila Prabhupada, or when they're talking about him, they'll say oh, he was a businessman for some time, and then later he became very successful, or at a certain point he was engaged in pure devotional service, or achieved pure Krishna consciousness after taking initiation and coming and preaching and all of these things. But like you touched on, you were speaking of nicely at the end of the class, we see that he was actually always Krishna conscious because he was coming from the spiritual world. So there wasn't ever a time when he wasn't
forgetful of Krishna. He himself.
Yeah, he never forgot Krishna. He's or had to achieve Krishna consciousness or attain it. He just was fully Krishna conscious from the very beginning. There's this one memory that this devotee explains in those Prabhupada memories tapes, where Srila Prabhupada was explaining how he tells this, he recounts to this devotee how I was in the spiritual world with Krishna. Krishna was saying, I want you to come to the material world, and Srila Prabhupada's telling him, no. And then Krishna says, just go there and write your books, and I'll take care of everything. And
Bhavananda Prabhu remembers that.
yeah,
He recounts
Bhavananda
that,
Prabhu.
yeah.
So there's that one, and then in the Srimad Bhagavatam, like we hear, even in there's something predicting Srila Prabhupada that this literature will make a revolution in the misdirected lives.
Misdirected lives of,
Misdirected lives of an impious civilization.
impious lives, impious men of misdirected civilization, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And so when did we see that happen? Once Srila Prabhupada gives his commentary on it in translation and comes to America. So he's predicted there in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, like you were saying, he's explained as the Senapati Bhakta, and then in so many places, all these like verses. So yeah, I just wanted to, you mentioned it at the end, and I wanted to just talk about it more.
You can read in a Divine Prophecy. Similarly, Vaishnava Acharya's one Alvar, I forget which one. Similarly, there's one Tamil verse which also predicts Srila Prabhupada. It's there, I don't know exactly offhand, I just know a rough idea. We have one book, A Divine Prophecy, that talks about this. On page number 83, but it's going to be changed to 55 in the new printing. I just saw that yesterday.
It's just, you're making a point of like Srila Prabhupada's struggle in that first year.
Yeah.
And it's just like, until you're kind of engaged in activity of actually preaching, it's difficult to understand what Srila Prabhupada actually did. You know, from this point, and like from on the books, like we can read it and it's like, wow, you know, Prabhupada just, and often it feels like, wow, he just did it. And it was just like, he was a pure devotee and he came and Krishna just sent him everybody and he was just amazing and wonderful and chanting and dancing and that's all it was. Sometimes like that vision is kind of there. But then like when one is actually actively engaged in preaching, you realize, oh my God, you know, the significance of Srila Prabhupada's, you know, his whole position in how Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya and what it takes to like make people into Vaishnavas. It's like, and he did it at mass. Oh, you know, it took him a year to that struggle, but then when he lit the fire, it was just like thousands of people at the same time, and it's just like we see that now, and we see the movement, and because of the loss in purity in our movement, we just don't see that same caliber carried through, and it's a struggle for everyone to make devotees. But when you're trying to do so, and you're trying to get a movement to start going, you start to realize, oh my God, you know, what he did was like beyond like conception of anybody. Even, I mean, now we have some conception that it's possible, but you can imagine before that, Prabhupada did it. It's like, can't, like, even now people tell us, like, you making 18, 19-year-old into brahmachari is impossible. I've heard that before. I don't think it can be done. But it's already been done before by Srila Prabhupada, but people still don't believe that it can be done. So now just cater to the Indians, that's it, for the Indians, by the Indians. But local, practically, people have given up. Because it's impossible. You go out there and you do it, and it's impossible. It literally is. It's like we have, like we're explaining to these Hungarian devotees, we have 3 universities within 40 minutes, you know, that has 100,000 young Americans, and it's like, whoa, what an amazing preaching field. But you go there and you stand there and you realize, oh my God, and you think to yourself, out of all these thousands of people, not even one person is like willing to like come and take devotional service on their own. You have to like make them jump through hoops and this and that, and even after all of that, they still won't take it up. So like what Srila Prabhupada did is, it's like, you can't understand it. Like Prabhupada said, you can't understand it. Prabhupada said, you know, you won't understand, I'm 70, and you won't understand what that's like until you kind of get there. Or Guru Maharaj kind of says that you don't understand how, like, the age Srila Prabhupada came at and what he did until you become 70 and you realize how, you know, how the body may give so much trouble and this and like that. So for us, it's like we're young and we have energy to do all of this, but then Srila Prabhupada exhibiting that, even at that age, it's like, it was a crazy thing to do for everybody for him to tell everyone that I'm going to go do this. People must have thought he was absolutely nuts. Like, what happened? Something came loose at some point, stay in Vrindavan and die. It's impossible to understand. It's like
Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says that the position of a Vaishnava can be judged by how many devotees he's made in his lifetime. So we may make one devotee and think like, I mean, Krishna very much appreciates, don't get me wrong. We may think like it's such an astounding thing to make one devotee, and it is such an astounding thing. It's very difficult. Srila Prabhupada made thousands of devotees from the lowest class of people. What does that say of his character? And it's still making them, yeah. It's still making them. Still making them. People read his books and they become convinced. I read his books. You know, I just read his books. I just read what Srila Prabhupada wrote. I thought that was the most intelligent thing I've ever read in my whole life. It's extremely clear. It's amazing. It just made so much sense. You know, it's still, he's going on like that. Yeah, that's a good point. So, anything else? Yes, I'm out.
This is really amazing that this is people is very envious to Srila Prabhupada. They told that this is like he's like businessman here only because of his quality of like make money. He like started this movement, but really you can see. If you have these rules and regulations, like so much austerity, you know, should live this, and only because of this you can like progress in Krishna consciousness. But this is so-called disciples of these so-called gurus, you know, this like Prabhupada told and Guru Maharaj told that you cannot recognize them like disciples because they not follow any rules and regulations. They don't have any system. You know, they just bring the money. And you can do something and you will be spiritual, or this is another religious systems like they only constructed some churches all over the world. They convert the people because of money, and some people only because of the producing more children and and all this very like a stupid systems like no intelligence, like only some gross material conceptions. And you can see what Srila Prabhupada did, you know, like he gave like pure devotional service for people. Like Allen Ginsberg, he asked Srila Prabhupada, "Do you really want to make these brahmanas from these hippies?" Prabhupada, he told, "Yes, I want to do this. I already did this." And Allen Ginsberg told, "No, that's not possible. no, it's not possible. It is not possible." But Prabhupada did this, you know. But these people envious still.
Anything from the women? No? One other point, it's not directly related, but you were mentioning that the thing with the business, I meant to remark, is that, Srila Prabhupada was a successful businessman. In one sense, he was a businessman. He was an expert businessman. He was an expert cook. He was an expert everything, because the devotee is expert at everything. One aspect of Srila Prabhupada, he was incredibly multifaceted character, but the chief thing is, we understand he's a pure devotee of Krishna. Another thing is, I was talking about the hand of Krishna. It's Krishna's arrangement that Srila Prabhupada exhibited the pastime of being a businessman. It's also Krishna's arrangement that his business failed. Prabhupada himself, he says this. He says that verse, Yasyaham anugrahnami, I take away everything. So even during those years, for those who have the knowledge, the see, we understand that still Srila Prabhupada was always sheltered into the lotus feet of Krishna. So, okay, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and his coming to America.